3:47, same time, every night. Clayton Mercer woke to the sound of his own breathing, ragged, desperate, like a man drowning on dry land. The sheets were soaked through. His nightshirt clung to his chest. 52 years old, and he still couldn't sleep a full night. The dream was always the same. Thomas Hartley's face, not angry, just confused. Why, Clayton? Why? He sat up, lit the lamp with shaking hands. The flame caught, pushed back the darkness, but only a little. 8 bedrooms in this house. All empty. Mahogany furniture, Persian rugs, a 4-poster bed big enough for a family. He slept alone, always. Outside, thunder rolled across the Montana Valley. August thunder, the kind that splits the sky open and doesn't apologize. Storm coming, he stood, walked to the window, saw his reflection in the glass, graying temples, hollow eyes, a face he didn't recognize anymore. Behind his reflection, the land, 40,000 acres, 8,000 head of cattle, built on blood and lies. 3:47, same time Thomas died. 10 years ago today, the clock ticked, the lamp burned, the thunder grew closer. He closed his eyes, whispered to the darkness, "I'm sorry." The darkness didn't answer. It never did. By afternoon, the sky had turned the color of a bruise. Clayton rode the fence line along the eastern boundary, his daily ritual. Check the posts, count the cattle, avoid thinking. The sorrel mare beneath him knew the route by heart. 40,000 acres, and he'd memorized every mile of it, every rock, every creek, every place a man could hide from his own thoughts. He almost turned back when he saw where the trail led. Miller Creek. The bridge. He hadn't ridden this section in 4 months, maybe 5. There was no reason to. The fence was good here. The cattle had water. The land... Thunder cracked overhead. The mare shied sideways. Clayton steadied her, felt the first drops of rain hit his face. Cold, heavy. The kind of rain that meant business. He needed shelter. The bridge was closest. The same bridge. He urged the mare forward. She didn't want to go. Smart animal. But he pressed his heels in, and she obeyed because that's what horses do. They trust even when they shouldn't. The bridge rose ahead. Old railroad trestle from the mining days built before the war. Weathered timber and rusted iron spanning Miller Creek. Water ran fast beneath it this time of year. Snowmelt from the mountains. Clear and cold and deep enough to drown in. Clayton had been here the night Thomas Hartley died. Right here. Lightning split the sky. The world went white, then dark. In that flash of light, Clayton saw the creek exactly as it had been 10 years ago. Thomas on his knees, hand reaching for his gun, but never making it. Clayton's bullet already flying. The look on Thomas's face, not of anger but of surprise, like he'd just realized the rules had changed and nobody had told him. The mare stopped, wouldn't go closer. "Easy," Clayton murmured. But his own voice sounded wrong. Then he heard it, a cough, wet, desperate. The sound a child makes when their lungs are full of something that shouldn't be there. He went still. Listened. There, again, from under the bridge. Clayton dismounted, tied the mare to a cottonwood. Walked toward the sound, rain coming harder now. The sky opened up like God had torn a hole in it and decided to pour everything through. He crouched, looked under the bridge timbers, 2 shapes huddled in the mud. Children. A girl, 9, maybe 10, thin as winter wheat, dark hair plastered to her skull. She was wrapped around a smaller child, covering him with her own body, trying to keep him warm, failing. The boy was maybe 5. Blonde curls, blue lips, shaking so hard his teeth chattered. Every few seconds he coughed, that terrible wet sound that meant pneumonia or worse. Clayton's throat tightened. "Go away," the girl whispered, but her voice had no strength behind it, just fear. "How long you been here?" Clayton asked. "None of your business." Lightning flashed again. In that moment of white light, Clayton saw the boy clearly, gaps between his teeth, eyes glassy with fever, small hands clutching something, a wooden toy, a horse, carved, handmade, simple, and burned into its belly, barely visible. TH. The world stopped. Thomas Hartley. The boy coughed again. Blood-flecked spit on his lips. "What's your name?" Clayton's voice came from somewhere far away. The girl stared at him, weighing death by stranger against death by cold. Survival won. "Eliza," she said. "He's Sammy. Our mama." Her voice cracked like thin ice. "Our mama died. Where's your people?" "Ain't got none." "No family? Nobody?" She shook her head, started crying. Tried to stop. Couldn't. Clayton looked at the boy, at the wooden horse, at the letters carved into it by a man whose face he still saw every night at 3:47. Thomas Hartley's children, here, dying in the mud on land Clayton had stolen, under a bridge built with money from a ranch that should have been theirs. He should walk away. Should pretend he never saw them. Should let the storm finish what he'd started 10 years ago. But the boy looked up at him with Thomas's blue eyes and whispered, "Cold." One word, that's all it took. Clayton stood, untied his coat, knelt back down, and wrapped it around both children. They were so small they fit together inside it. "Can you walk?" he asked Eliza. She nodded, suspicious. "Scared. Then get up, both of you." "Why?" "Because you'll die if you don't." "How we know you ain't gonna hurt us?" Fair question. He'd hurt everyone else. "You don't?" Clayton said. "But staying here's dying for sure. Coming with me's only maybe." She studied his face, looking for something. Truth, maybe, or just lesser evil. "You got food?" she asked. "Yes." "And it's warm? Where you're taking us?" "Yes." The boy coughed again, worse this time. His whole body convulsed. "Okay," Eliza whispered. "Okay." Clayton lifted Sammy. The boy weighed nothing, just bones and fever. The wooden horse fell from his hand. Eliza grabbed it quick, like losing it would mean losing something more. He saw her tuck it inside her dress, saw the letters again. TH thunder crashed, rain hammered down. Clayton put both children on his mare, climbed up behind them, and turned toward home. Toward the house, built with blood money. Toward 8 empty bedrooms. Toward the ghost he'd spent 10 years running from. As they rode away from the bridge, Clayton looked back once. Saw the place where Thomas had died. Saw the muddy bank where 2 children almost followed him. The rain washed everything gray. But it couldn't wash this clean. The house appeared through the rain like a ship in fog. 2 stories, white clapboard, wide porch, 8 windows glowing yellow against the storm. Smoke rising from 2 chimneys. The biggest house in 3 counties, and Clayton had built every inch of it himself, or paid men to, which amounted to the same thing out here. He'd never brought anyone home before. He dismounted in front of the barn, carried Sammy. The boy had stopped shivering. That was worse. When they stopped shivering, it meant their body had given up trying. "Eliza," Clayton said, "can you walk?" She slid off the mare, stood on legs that shook, held his coat closed around her with both hands, nodded. "Stay close." They ran through the rain to the back door. Clayton kicked it open. Heat rushed out to meet them. Wood stove burning, lamps lit, the smell of bread and coffee and dry wool. Home. He'd never thought of it that way before. Just a house, just walls. But with these 2 children dripping mud on his clean floor, it felt like something else, something he didn't have a name for. "Jesus, Mary, and Joseph," Mrs. Chen said. She stood at the kitchen counter, sleeves rolled up, hands dusted with flour. Chinese woman, maybe 45. Husband killed in the rail camps, needed work. Clayton needed someone who'd keep his house and not ask questions. They'd had an arrangement for 7 years. She came twice a week, cooked, cleaned, left. She wasn't supposed to be here tonight. "Storm trapped me," she said, staring at the children. "Roads washed out. I was going to wait it out in the—" "Mr. Mercer, what in God's name?" "They need help." "I can see that." "Oh." She moved fast, pulled the big tin tub from the pantry, started heating water on the stove. "How long they been out there?" "Don't know. Too long." Mrs. Chen touched Sammy's forehead. Her face went hard. "This one's burning up. Pneumonia, probably. Maybe worse." "What does he need?" "Warmth, dry clothes, broth, medicine." She looked at Clayton. "And a doctor. Soon. I'll send someone to town. Tonight." "In this storm, you'll kill the rider." Then at first light, she nodded. Started stripping Sammy's wet clothes off. The boy didn't resist. Didn't even wake. Just lay there in Clayton's arms like something already half gone. "The guest room," Clayton said. "Upstairs, second door." He carried Sammy up the wide staircase. The stairs creaked, they always did, but tonight it sounded like accusation, each step saying, "What are you doing? What right do you have?" No right. But he was doing it anyway. The guest room hadn't been used in 5 years, maybe more. Clean sheets, misses. Chin kept everything clean, but the air was stale, unused, waiting. Clayton laid Sammy on the bed. The boy looked even smaller against the white linen, looked like he might disappear. Mrs. Chin arrived with blankets, warm water, soft rags. She worked without speaking, washed the mud off, wrapped him in wool, covered him up to his chin. Eliza stood in the doorway, wouldn't come in, just watched. "He gonna die?" she asked. "Not if I can help it," Mrs. Chin said. "That ain't an answer." "It's the only one I got." Eliza's jaw tightened. She walked to the bed, sat on the floor beside it, back against the frame, put her hand up on the mattress where Sammy's hand was. "I ain't leaving him," she said. "Didn't ask you to," Clayton said. Mrs. Chen brought broth. Beef and potato. Simple. Hot. She lifted Sammy's head, spooned it into his mouth drop by drop. Most of it ran down his chin. Some went in. "Come on, boy," she murmured. "Swallow. Just a little." Sammy's throat worked. Once. Twice. He swallowed. "Good," Mrs. Chen said. That's good. Midnight. Storm still raging, rain against windows, wind howling through the eaves. Clayton sat in his study, lamp burning, staring at nothing, heard footsteps on the stairs. Eliza appeared in the doorway, barefoot, wearing one of his old shirts, came down past her knees, hair drying in dark tangles, gray eyes too old for her face. "Can't sleep," she said. "Me neither." She came in, looked around, saw the books lining the walls, the desk, the maps, the rifle above the fireplace. "You read all these?" she asked. "Some. Mama taught me to read before she got sick." "What did she teach you?" "The Bible, some Shakespeare, whatever she could find." Eliza touched the spine of a book. "Treasure Island." She said reading makes you free, even when you ain't got nothing else. Clayton didn't know what to say to that. Eliza turned, studied him. "What's your name?" "Clayton Mercer." Something changed in her face. Just a flicker. "Mercer, that's the man who owns everything. The rich man." "Yes." "You own this land? All of it?" "Most of it." How much is most?" 40,000 acres. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. "How'd you get it?" "Bought it, stole it, killed for it." "I worked," he said. She didn't believe him. He could tell, but she didn't push. "Why'd you help us?" she asked. "You needed help." Rich people don't help people like us." "Maybe I'm different." "Are you?" He didn't answer, couldn't. Eliza watched him a long moment, then softer. "Sammy likes you. He don't usually trust strangers. But when you picked him up, he didn't fight. That means something." It meant the boy was too sick to fight. But Clayton didn't say that. "Go to sleep," he said. "I'll watch him tonight." You don't have to." "I know." She left. But at the door, she paused. "Mr. Mercer?" "Yes?" "Thank you." In 2 words, they hit him like bullets. Dawn came gray and cold. Clayton woke in the chair beside Sammy's bed. His back ached. His neck was stiff. He was 52 years old, and sleeping in chairs was a young man's game. But he wasn't alone. Sammy was awake, sitting up, blue eyes clear and focused. "You the man who saved us?" the boy asked. Voice small, raspy. "Yes." "From the storm?" "Yes." Sammy studied him, then smiled, gap-toothed, innocent, complete. "Thank you," he said, and reached out, small hand, still warm with fever, reaching for Clayton's. Clayton looked down, at this child's hand, at the trust in it. He should pull away, should tell the boy the truth, should say, "I killed your father. I stole your land. I'm the reason you're an orphan." But the boy was 5 years old, and he was reaching out, and Clayton was so goddamn tired of being alone. He took Sammy's hand, small fingers wrapped around his, held on. "You're nice," Sammy said. Something broke inside Clayton's chest. Not clean, not merciful. Just broke. He sat there holding a dead man's son's hand while the rain stopped outside, and the world turned toward morning. The lamp on the nightstand still burned. He didn't let go. September came in gold. The storm passed. The sun returned. The land dried out and turned the color of honey. Hay harvest. Cattle fattening for winter. The kind of weather that made a man believe in second chances. Sammy recovered slow but steady. By the 3rd day, he could sit up. By the 5th, he could walk to the window. By the end of the 1st week, he was running through the house, asking questions faster than anyone could. Answer them. "Why's the sky so big here? Where do all your cows sleep? Can I have a horse? A real one, not the wood kind?" Clayton watched him, this small tornado of a boy, 5 years old, and already louder than the storm that had nearly killed him. Doctor. Margaret Ashford came the 2nd day, rode 12 miles from town. Older woman, 40 maybe, sharp eyes behind wire-frame glasses. One of the few female doctors west of Chicago. Didn't smile much. Didn't need to. She examined Sammy in silence, listened to his chest, checked his eyes, felt his forehead. "Pneumonia," she said. "Early stages. He's lucky you found him." "Will he make it?" "If you keep him warm, fed, rested." She closed her medical bag, looked at Clayton. "Where'd these children come from?" "The storm. Under the bridge." "Under the bridge. On your property?" "Yes." "And you just happened to find them?" "Yes." Dr. Ashford studied him. "That doesn't sound like you, Clayton." "Maybe I'm changing." "People don't change. They just get better at hiding what they've always been." She left him with that. The 2nd week, Eliza discovered the library. Clayton found her there one morning, sitting on the floor, books spread around her in a half circle, reading Treasure Island with her lips moving slightly, the way people do when they're not quite sure of themselves, but determined anyway. "You like pirates?" he asked. She jumped, closed the book fast, like she'd been caught stealing. "Sorry, didn't mean to." She stumbled over the words. I ain't hurting nothing. I know. I can put them back. Eliza. He waited until she looked at him. You can read any book you want, anytime. Really? Really. She opened the book again, slower, ran her finger along the page. Mama said books were treasures, said we might be poor, but if we could read, we'd never be hungry in our heads. Clayton thought about that, about a woman dying of tuberculosis teaching her daughter to read by lamplight, about what that cost, about what it meant. Your mama was smart, he said. She was. Eliza's voice went small. She tried real hard to keep us alive, but it weren't enough. It was enough. You're here, but she ain't. No good answer to that, so Clayton did the only thing he knew. He pulled down another book, Moby Dick. When you're done with pirates, try this one. It's about a whale. A whale? Biggest animal in the ocean. You ever seen one? No. Then how you know it's real? Because someone I trust told me, and I believed them. Eliza thought about that, nodded, took the book. That night, Clayton heard her reading aloud to Sammy. The boy's laughter drifting through the walls, high and bright and uncomplicated. He sat in his study and listened to the sound of children in his house. First time in 52 years. Third week, Sammy started following him, everywhere. To the barn, to the fields, to check the cattle, like a blonde shadow with questions. Why's that cow got horns and that one don't? What's barbed wire made of? How come you walk? Funny? My leg, Clayton said. Got shot once. Did it hurt? Yes. Who shot you? Man, I shouldn't have fought. Did you shoot him back? Clayton stopped walking, looked down at this child. Yes. Did he die? No. Good. Sammy took his hand, just like that, easy. I don't want nobody to die no more. They walked like that, hand in hand, across the field where cattle grazed. Under sky so big it made a man feel small. Clayton tried not to think about what he was doing, tried not to think about how this child's hand fit in his, tried not to think about the wooden horse he'd seen, the initials carved into it. But at night, 3:47 every morning, Thomas Hartley's face still came, still asked, why? Fourth week, evening, kitchen table. Mrs. Chen had cooked. Beef roast, potatoes, bread, real food. Real food. The four of them sat together, Clayton, Eliza, Sammy, Mrs. Chen, like a family. Sammy ate like he'd never seen food before, shoveled it in, got gravy on his chin, grinned through it all. This is the best thing I ever ate, he said. You say that every night, Eliza said. 'Cause it's true every night. They laughed. Even Mrs. Chen smiled. Then Sammy looked at Clayton, face suddenly serious. Can I call you Papa? Silence. Fork clattered on Eliza's plate. Mrs. Chen went still. Clayton's throat closed. I mean, Sammy shrank back. You don't gotta say yes. But you're nice, and you let us stay, and you don't hit us or nothing, and his voice got smaller. And I ain't never had a papa. True. Sammy was born after Thomas died, never knew his father. Didn't know Clayton was the reason he never would. Clayton looked at this boy, 5 years old, gap-toothed, hopeful, asking permission to love him. Every fiber of his being screamed, no, you can't. I don't deserve this. But what came out was, if you want to. Sammy's face exploded into light. Really? Really. The boy launched himself across the table, wrapped thin arms around Clayton's neck, nearly knocked him out of his chair. Thank you, Papa, thank you. Clayton held him, this small body. This impossible gift, felt something breaking inside his chest that he'd thought was already broken. Over Sammy's shoulder, he saw Eliza watching, her face unreadable. Eliza, did you hear? Sammy pulled back. He said, yes, I got a papa now. Eliza's eyes were wet. She nodded, said nothing. Later, after Sammy had gone to bed, Clayton sat in his study, lamp burning low, staring at his hands. Heard footsteps. Sammy appeared, barefoot, pajamas too big, clutching the wooden horse. Can't sleep, the boy said. Bad dreams? No, just, he came closer, held out the horse. Can you keep this safe? Clayton's hand started shaking. Papa, the real Papa, made this. Mama told me. Before she... Sammy's voice wobbled. I don't remember him, but Mama said he loved me, said he made this for me before I was even born. Clayton took the horse, felt the carved wood, felt the letters. T.H. Thomas Hartley, the man he'd murdered. I'll keep it safe, Clayton whispered. Promise? Promise. Sammy smiled, hugged him quick. Night, Papa. Good night, son. The boy ran off. Footsteps on the stairs, door closing. Clayton sat holding the wooden horse, a dead man's love carved into wood, given into the hands of his killer to keep safe. The lamp flickered. The shadows moved. Outside, the September night was perfect. Clear stars, cool air, the kind of night that made promises. But Clayton knew this couldn't last. Somewhere out there, the truth was waiting, patient, inevitable. He looked at the carved initials. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the ghost. "I'm so goddamn sorry." The wood said nothing, but in the morning, Jeremiah Cross came. Jeremiah Cross arrived at dawn. Clayton was in the barn checking feed stores when he heard the horse, knew the gait before he saw the rider. 20 years working together made a man recognize things like that. Jeremiah dismounted. Didn't tie his horse. That meant he wasn't planning to stay long, or meant he was planning to leave fast. "Boss," Jeremiah said, hat in hand, but his eyes were flint. "We need to talk." "About?" "The children." Clayton's gut tightened. "What about them? Who are they?" "Orphans." "I know that." Jeremiah stepped closer, boots crunching on hay. "I'm asking who's orphans." Clayton said nothing. "I heard the girl talking to Mrs. Chen, heard her say her name." Long pause. "Eliza Hartley." The barn went quiet. Even the horses felt it. "And the boy," Jeremiah continued. "Samuel Hartley." He watched Clayton's face. "Thomas Hartley's children. You brought Thomas Hartley's children into your house. They had nowhere else." "They're a threat." Jeremiah's voice dropped. "You understand that. The girl's smart. She asks questions. She'll figure it out." "Figure what out?" "Don't play stupid. She'll learn what happened, who you are, what you did. And when she does..." He let it hang there. "What?" Clayton met his eyes. "What will she do?" "Destroy you. Testify. You'll lose the ranch, the cattle, your freedom." Pause. "Maybe your neck. Maybe I should." Jeremiah's jaw worked. "Don't be a fool. I killed their father. In self-defense. Legal and recorded." We both know that's a lie." Silence, thick and ugly. "Then we both know what needs doing," Jeremiah said. "No. They can disappear. Quiet. Orphans go missing all the time." Clayton moved fast, grabbed Jeremiah's shirt, slammed him against the barn wall. "Touch them and I'll kill you myself." They stared at each other. Two men who'd built an empire on blood and silence. "You've gone soft," Jeremiah said. "That boy calls you Papa, and you forget this is the frontier. Mercy gets you killed. Get out. I'm trying to save you." "I don't want to be saved. Not that way." Jeremiah straightened his shirt, put his hat back on. "Your funeral." He rode off, didn't look back. Clayton stood in the barn, hands shaking. Sammy's laughter drifted from the house, playing with Mrs. Chen probably, high and bright and trusting. The sound of everything he was about to lose. 2 days later, he took them to town. Mistake. He knew it, even as they rode. But Sammy needed new boots. His old ones had holes, and Eliza needed a winter coat. Cold came early this high up. Silver Creek, population 300, one main street, general store, bank, saloon, church. The kind of town where everyone knew everyone's business before they knew it themselves. They tied the horses outside Patterson's general store. Sammy held Clayton's hand. Eliza walked separate, always a little apart. Inside, the smell of coffee and tobacco and new leather. Mrs. Patterson, behind the counter, 60 years old, ran the place since her husband died, saw everything, forgot nothing. "Mr. Mercer," she said. Then her eyes went to the children. "And who do we have here?" "Need boots for the boy, and a coat for the girl." "I can see that." She came around the counter, studied them. "Where'd they come from?" "Found them in the storm." "Found them." Her tone said she knew there was more. "How Christian of you." Sammy tugged Clayton's sleeve. "Papa, can I look at the candy?" The word echoed in the sudden silence. "Papa." Mrs. Patterson's eyebrows rose. "Papa, is it?" "He's nice," Sammy said. "Simple, true." "I'm sure he is." She measured Sammy for boots, then looked at Eliza. "And what's your name, child?" Eliza lifted her chin, proud even in worn-out clothes. "Eliza Hartley." "That's Samuel Hartley." Mrs. Patterson's hands stopped moving. "Hartley," she repeated, glanced at Clayton. "That's an interesting name." "It's our name," Eliza said. "Our papa's name, before he died." "I see." Mrs. Patterson wrapped the boots in brown paper. Her movements were stiff now, careful. "That'll be $2. They left fast. But the damage was done. At the bank, it was worse. The manager, Harold Finch, thin as a rail and twice as rigid, looked at the withdrawal slip Clayton signed. Then, at the children. "Expanding your household, Mr. Mercer. Just helping out. Very charitable." His eyes were cold. Do they have family? Anyone looking for them? No. And their surname was on trap. Clayton felt it closing, but Eliza answered, voice clear. Hartley. I'm Eliza Hartley, and this is Samuel Hartley. Finch's face went carefully blank. Hartley. I knew a Thomas Hartley once, long time ago. That was our papa, Sammy said. But he's dead. Yes, Finch said slowly. I heard about that. His eyes locked on Clayton. Terrible tragedy. They rode home in silence. That evening, after Sammy was asleep, Eliza found Clayton in his study, shut the door behind her. Why'd everyone act weird today? She asked. They're not used to seeing children. No. She stepped closer. It was when I said our name. Hartley. You went pale too, when you first found us. Why? It's a common name. Don't lie to me. Her voice cracked. I'm 9, not stupid. Something's wrong. What is it? Clayton couldn't meet her eyes. Did you know our papa? She asked. His silence answered. You did? Her voice went quiet, dangerous. How? Eliza, how did you know our papa? It was a long time ago. Was he good? Mama said he was good. Yes, he was. Then why won't you look at me? He couldn't breathe. 10 years of lies pressing down on his chest like stones. Something bad happened to him, Eliza said. Not a question. Yes. What? I can't tell you. Why not? Because, his voice broke. Because I'm not ready to lose you. The words hung there. Terrible. True. Eliza stared at him, understanding dawning in her gray eyes. What did you do? Eliza, what did you do to our papa? He stood, reached for her. She backed away. Don't touch me. Please. You hurt him, didn't you? You hurt our papa. Yes. She started crying. Why? Why would you save us if you... Because I had to. Because I couldn't let you die too. Two. Her voice rose. What does that mean? Two. But she already knew. He could see it in her face. The pieces clicking together. The reason everyone looked at them strange. The reason he'd gone pale at the bridge. No, she whispered. No, you didn't. You couldn't. He said nothing. And his silence told her everything. Morning came cold. Sammy's cough had returned, worse than before, wet and rattling. The sound of lungs giving up. Clayton carried him to town, wrapped in blankets. The boy's skin was hot as a coal. His lips had gone pale. Papa, Sammy whispered. Hurts. I know, son. We're going to the doctor. Eliza rode behind them, silent. Hadn't spoken since last night. Hadn't looked at him. Dr. Ashford's office smelled like carbolic acid and old leather. She examined Sammy on the table, listened to his chest. Her face went grim. Consumption, she said. Early stage, his lungs are inflamed. What does he need? Rest, warmth, good food, no stress. She looked at Clayton hard. Especially no stress. If he's upset, if his heart races, if he cries too much, it'll kill him. I'll keep him calm. Can you? She pulled Clayton aside, away from the children, closed the door. He's Thomas Hartley's son, she said. Not a question. Clayton's blood went cold. How did you... I examined Thomas when he died, saw the bullet wound. Her eyes were iron. Entry wound in the chest, close range, no powder burns on his hands, meaning he never fired. And the gun found beside him? She leaned closer. Wrong model. Thomas carried a Colt. The gun by his body was a Smith & Wesson. You never said anything. Because I was scared. You were powerful. I was a woman alone trying to practice medicine in a place that barely tolerated me. Her voice shook with old anger. But I knew. I've always known. Silence. You killed an unarmed man, Clayton, shot him in cold blood, and now you're raising his children. I'm trying to make it right. By lying to them? By keeping them alive. For how long? She grabbed his arm. Until they find out. And they will. That girl's smart. She's already asking questions. What happens when she learns the truth? I'll tell her. When the time is right. The time is never right for that kind of truth. Dr. Ashford released him. Do you know what it'll do to them? To love you, trust you, call you Papa, and then learn you murdered their father. I know. Then why are you doing this? Because I can't let them die. Not them too. His voice broke on the last word, echoed in the small room. Dr. Ashford studied him. Something in her face softened, just barely. You can't undo what you did, she said quietly. I know, but you can tell them the truth before someone else does. And if the truth kills them, then at least they'll die knowing who you really are. He brought them home, got Sammy into bed. The boy was shaking, fever climbing. Papa, Sammy clutched his hand. Don't leave. I'm right here. Promise? Promise. But Eliza stood in the doorway, watching. Her eyes said, "How long will that promise last?" Next morning, early, Clayton woke to Mrs. Chen shaking him. "The girl's gone." "What?" "Eliza. She's not in her room, not in the house." He found her horse missing from the barn, tracked which way she'd ridden, toward town, his gut twisted. Eliza returned 3 hours later, face white, eyes red. She walked straight past Clayton, up to her room, slammed the door. Mrs. Chen appeared from the kitchen. "Mr. Patterson's wife was at the Mercantile, told me Eliza came to town, asked questions about Thomas Hartley, about what happened 10 years ago." Clayton's world tilted. "What did they tell her?" "The truth, or their version of it." Mrs. Chen's voice was gentle. "She knows." He waited until evening, until Sammy was asleep, then knocked on Eliza's door. "Go away," she said. "We need to talk." "I got nothing to say to you." He opened the door anyway, found her sitting on the bed, holding the wooden horse, staring at it like it might answer questions. "You killed him," she said. Not loud, not angry, just flat, dead. Clayton's legs almost gave out. "Yes. Our papa, Thomas Hartley. You killed him." "Yes." "How?" "There was a dispute. Over land, over water rights to Miller Creek." His voice sounded far away, like someone else speaking. "We argued. I drew my gun. He tried to say something, tried to stop it, but I fired, shot him in the chest." "Did he have a gun?" "I put one there. After, to make it look like self-defense." Her face crumpled. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Why?" "Because I wanted the land. Because I was greedy and angry and—" He couldn't finish. "Why did you save us?" Her voice rose. "Was it guilt? Did you think taking us in would fix it? Make you feel better?" "No. You wanted to feel less guilty. You wanted to pretend you weren't a murderer." She was sobbing now. "We loved you. Sammy calls you Papa, and you're the reason he never had one." Each word hit like a fist. "I'm sorry," Clayton whispered. "You're sorry?" She stood, shaking. "My mama died calling for him. Died poor and sick and alone because you took everything from her. You killed her husband and stole her land and left her with nothing." "I know. And we almost died under that bridge. On land that should have been ours. In the rain, in the cold. And you—" Her voice broke. "You saved us just so you could feel like a good person." That's not why." "Then why? Why save us if you knew the truth would kill us anyway?" "Because I loved you." The words exploded out of him. "Because the moment I saw you, I knew I had to save you or I'd be dead inside forever. Because you and Sammy, you made me feel human again. And I know that's selfish. I know that's wrong. But I couldn't let you die. I couldn't." Eliza stared at him, tears streaming. "You don't get to love us. You don't get to be our papa." "I know. We're leaving." "You can't. Sammy's sick. The winter's coming. You'll die out there." "I don't care." She was screaming now. "I'd rather die than stay with you." "Eliza, please. Don't touch me." She backed away. "You're a liar, a murderer. I hate you." "I know. I hate you." The door to Sammy's room opened. The boy stood there, pajamas wrinkled, hair mussed, face confused and scared. "Liza?" His voice was small. "Why you yelling?" Eliza choked on a sob, went to him, knelt down. "We're leaving, Sammy." "Leaving? Why?" "Because we can't stay here." But I like it here. Papa's nice." "He's not our papa." She grabbed his shoulders, too hard. He's bad, Sammy. He's a bad man." "No, he's not." Sammy's eyes filled with tears. "He saved us. He's nice to us. He reads to me, and you don't understand." "Then tell me." But she couldn't. How do you tell a 5-year-old that the man he loves killed the father he never knew? Sammy pulled away, ran to Clayton, wrapped his arms around Clayton's legs. "Don't let her take me away, Papa. Please. I want to stay." Clayton looked down at this child, clinging to him, trusting him, looked at Eliza, broken and furious and right about everything. "Sammy," he said gently, "your sister is right. I'm not a good man." "Yes, you are." "No, son, I did something very bad a long time ago, and it hurt your family." "What did you do?" He couldn't say it, not to those blue eyes. "I can't tell you, not yet, but you need to trust your sister. She's trying to protect you." But you protect us too." "I'm trying, but sometimes—" His voice broke. "Sometimes trying isn't enough." That night, Eliza packed their things, the few clothes they had, the wooden horse, the quilt square. Sammy cried. "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." "We have to." Why? Because I said so. Mrs. Chen found Clayton in his study, bottle of whiskey on the desk, hadn't touched it, just stared at it. The boy's too sick to travel, she said. I know. He'll die if they leave. I know. And then stop them. How? Hold them prisoner? That makes me worse than I already am. And so you're just giving up? He looked at her. What else can I do? She had no answer. Midnight. Clayton stood outside Sammy's room, heard voices inside. Eliza. We'll find somewhere, I promise. Sammy. But I'm scared, Liza. Eliza. Me too. Sammy. Do you think our real papa would be mad that we stayed here with the man who... Long silence. Then Eliza crying. I don't know, Sammy. I don't know anything anymore. Mama said sometimes people do bad things, but they're not bad people. Maybe both things can be true? I don't think it works that way. Why not? Because if it did, nothing would make sense. And I need things to make sense or I'm going to fall apart. Sammy coughed. That wet, rattling sound. I'm cold, Liza. I know. Come here. Clayton pressed his forehead against the door, felt tears on his face. First time in 10 years he'd killed their father, lied to them, made them love him. And now he was going to lose them. The wooden horse sat on his desk downstairs. The initials carved into it, T.H. Thomas Hartley's love, passed to his children, given to his murderer, to keep safe. Clayton had kept nothing safe. He destroyed everything he touched. 3 days passed, like years. Eliza wouldn't speak to him, wouldn't look at him. Stayed in her room with Sammy. The boy grew weaker by the hour, not just from the consumption, but from the weight of things he didn't understand. Children know, even when they don't know, they know. Clayton worked from dawn to dark, checked fences that didn't need checking, counted cattle he'd counted yesterday, rode to the far corners of the ranch where a man could be alone with his sins. But he came back every night because Sammy was dying and he'd promised not to leave. Some promises you keep even after everything else breaks. Midnight, third night. Clayton sat in his study, lamp burning low, the wooden horse on his desk. He'd been staring at it for 3 hours. Small thing, simple carving. A father's love made permanent in pine. T.H. Thomas Hartley, age 32 when he died, married to Sarah. Daughter on the way, homesteader, good man by all accounts. Died in the mud by Miller Creek with a bullet in his chest and surprise on his face. I'm sorry, Clayton whispered to it. I'm so goddamn sorry. The wood didn't answer, but someone else did. Saying sorry to a toy won't bring him back. Clayton looked up. Chief Joseph Running Bear stood in the doorway. Didn't knock. Never did. 15 years earning that right. How'd you get in? Clayton asked. Mrs. Chen let me in. The old crow man walked to the desk, looked at the horse. That belonged to Thomas. His children have it now. And they gave it to you? The boy did, before he knew. Joseph sat in the chair across from him. His face was weathered like old leather. 70 years of living showed in every line. I was there, Joseph said. That night, at the creek. Clayton went still. What? I saw everything. Was checking my trap line in the cottonwoods. Heard voices. Stayed hidden. I saw you draw first, saw Thomas try to speak, saw the bullet hit him. Joseph's eyes were steady, calm. Saw you plant the gun after. The room tilted. Why didn't you say anything? Clayton whispered. Would anyone have believed me? A red man over a white rancher? Bitter smile. No, so I stayed silent. Kept my head down, survived. I'm sorry. Don't apologize to me. I'm not the one you wronged. Joseph leaned forward. But you need to know something. The girl, she'll have to choose. Hate or mercy. And whatever she chooses, you must accept. And if she chooses hate, then you bear it. That's your penance. And if she chooses mercy? Joseph was quiet for a long time. Outside, an owl called. Wind moved through the pines. Then you spend the rest of your life proving you deserved it. He stood, put his hand on Clayton's shoulder, brief, heavy. The boy is dying, Joseph said. Not from sickness, from heartbreak. Children can die from that. What should I do? Nothing. This isn't your choice anymore. It's hers. He left. Footsteps on the porch, horse riding away. Clayton sat alone with the wooden horse and the lamp and the ghosts. Upstairs, Eliza sat by Sammy's bed. The boy was asleep. Finally, his breathing shallow and fast. Fever making him sweat through the sheets. She held his hand. Small fingers, hot as coals. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, Sammy. Footsteps in the hall. Mrs. Chen appeared with tea. Sat beside her without asking. They sat in silence for a while, just breathing, just being. You're angry, Mrs. Chen finally said. He killed our father. Yes. How can I forgive that, Mrs.? Chin sipped her tea, looked at the window where frost was forming in lace patterns. My husband was killed in the rail camps, she said. White men, 5 of them. Beat him to death over a pay dispute. $5. Eliza looked at her. What did you do? I hated them. For years. It poisoned everything. Made me hard. Made me mean. I stopped tasting food. Stopped seeing color. Just walked through days like a ghost. How'd you stop? I didn't stop hating what they did. I never will. Mrs. Chin's voice was steady. But I stopped letting it kill me too. Because they'd already taken my husband. I wasn't going to give them my life as well. But he killed... Yes. And your father is still dead. And that will never change. She looked at Sammy. But your brother's alive. Right now. Today. And he needs you whole, not broken by rage. It's not fair. No, it's not. I want him to pay. He is paying. Look at him. Mrs. Chin stood. Man's dying inside. Has been for 10 years. That's why he saved you. Not to feel better. But because he couldn't stand watching more people die because of him. That doesn't make it right. No, but it makes it human. She left Eliza with that. Dawn came gray and cold. Clayton stood in the barn. Hadn't slept, hadn't tried, heard footsteps turned. Eliza stood in the doorway, backlit by weak morning light, small and fierce and carrying the weight of impossible choices. He's dying, she said. Sammy. The doctor came last night. Said if you don't rest, really rest, without stress, he won't make it to Christmas. I know. She said he needs calm, needs peace, needs, her voice broke, needs to feel safe. Clayton nodded, didn't speak, didn't have words. I can't forgive you, Eliza said, each word careful, measured. Not yet, maybe not ever. I know. But I can't let him die either. And taking him out there, into the cold, into the unknown, tears streamed down her face. That'll kill him. I know it will. So, what do you want to do? She looked at him, gray eyes exactly like her mother's, old beyond their years. I want to make a deal. What kind of deal? We stay until spring, until Sammy's strong enough to travel. All right. But you tell him the truth when he's older. When he's well, you tell him everything you did, and you let him decide what to do with it. I promise. And you? She wiped her eyes. You spend every single day proving you deserve this mercy. Every day, no matter how long it takes. I will. He's your son now, her voice shook. Not by blood, not by right, but by choice. Don't waste it. She turned to leave. Eliza, Clayton said. She stopped. Didn't turn around. Thank you, he whispered. She stood there for a long moment, back straight, shoulders shaking, then she walked away. Left him standing in the barn with the gray light and the smell of hay and the first real hope he'd felt in 10 years. Not forgiveness, but maybe the beginning of something like it. The storm came 3 weeks early, October 20th. Should have been golden afternoons and cool nights. Instead, the sky turned white at noon and stayed that way. Temperature dropped 30 degrees in 2 hours. Snow came sideways. Wind howled like something dying. Montana winter. The kind that killed cattle and broke men. Clayton worked alongside his hands for 16 hours straight. Drove herds toward shelter. Fixed fences the wind tore down. His fingers went numb. His face burned with cold. But he didn't stop. Couldn't stop. At dawn, Jeremiah found him in the south pasture. Boss, we're losing them. 200 head already down. Need to make a choice? Save the south herd or the east? Both. Can't. Not enough men. Storm's too bad. Then I'll take this east myself. In this? You'll die. Then I die. He rode out alone. The east pasture bordered Miller Creek. Same creek, same place. Clayton saw it through the snow. The bridge half collapsed under ice weight. 50 head of cattle trapped against it, panicking, crushing each other, trying to escape. The creek ran fast beneath, black water, cold enough to stop a heart in minutes. He dismounted, started working, guiding cattle back one by one, roping them, pulling them. His horse did most of the work, good animal, trained for this. 3 hours, maybe 4. Lost track of time. World was just white and cold and moving shapes. Then he heard it. Crack. The bridge gave way. 2 steers fell through rotten timber into the creek. Current grabbed them immediately, started dragging them downstream toward the deeper water. They'd drown. He knew it. Clayton didn't think. Tied a rope to his saddle horn, plunged into the water. The cold hit him like a fist. Knocked the air from his lungs. Water so cold it felt like fire. He grabbed the first steer, got the rope around its neck, signaled his horse. The mare pulled, dragged them both to shore. One saved. Second steer thrashing 20 feet downstream, going under. Clayton dove back in, deeper this time. Current stronger, the cold sinking into his bones. His legs stopped working right. His hands couldn't grip. Got the rope around the steer, barely. But his body was shutting down. Hypothermia. He knew the signs. Knew he had minutes. The horse pulled, dragged them both out. Clayton collapsed on the bank. Couldn't stand. Couldn't feel his legs. Vision going gray at the edges. He lay there in the snow, staring at the sky. Same place Thomas Hartley died 10 years ago. This is it, he thought. This is where I pay. His last thought before darkness. Sammy, Eliza, I'm sorry. Jeremiah found him 2 hours later, blue-lipped, barely breathing, pulse so faint he almost missed it. Boss! He slapped Clayton's face. Nothing. Threw him over his horse, rode hard for the ranch. Mrs. Chin opened the door to Jeremiah, carrying Clayton's half-frozen body. Jesus and Mary, she breathed. He went into the creek, saved 2 steers, nearly killed himself doing it. They got him inside. Stripped his frozen clothes, wrapped him in blankets, built the fire until the room was stifling. Joel Ashford was already there, had arrived that morning for Sammy and gotten trapped by the storm. She looked at Clayton, then at the boy upstairs, both dying. I need to choose, she said quietly. I can't treat both at once. Sammy, Mrs. Chen said immediately. The boy. Clayton's worse. He might not... The boy, Mrs. Chen repeated, firmer. Dr. Ashford looked at Eliza. The girl stood frozen in the doorway, staring at Clayton's unconscious form. Which one? The doctor asked. Eliza's mouth opened, closed. I can't. I need an answer. Tears filled her eyes. Both. You have to save both. I'll try, but if I have to choose... Sammy, Eliza whispered. Then louder. Sammy first, always. Dr. Ashford nodded, went upstairs. That night, Eliza sat in the hallway, Sammy's room on her left. Clayton's study, where they'd moved him to the couch, on her right. She could hear both of them breathing. Ragged, shallow, wrong. Mrs. Chen brought her tea, sat beside her on the floor. You're going to have to choose again, Mrs. Chen said softly. What do you mean? When they wake up? If they wake up, you'll have to choose what happens next. Eliza held the wooden horse, ran her thumb over the carved letters. T.H. He almost died, she said. To save cows. Yes, but in the same place where our papa died. Yes. Why would he do that? Mrs. Chen was quiet for a moment. Because he's tired of taking. Wanted to save something. Anything. That don't make up for it. No, but it means something. Eliza stared at the wooden horse. Thought about her father. A man she'd never known. Thought about Clayton. A man who'd killed him. Thought about Sammy, who needed them both. Mama used to tell me a story, Eliza said, about a man who stole fire from God. God punished him, made him suffer forever. But the fire he stole saved people, kept them warm, fed them. What happened to the man? He suffered, but the people lived. Mrs. Chen nodded. Your mama was wise. She was wrong, though. Eliza's voice broke. That man in the story didn't kill nobody. He just stole fire. Clayton killed our papa. That's different. Yes, it is. But Sammy don't see it that way. To him, Clayton's just papa, the man who saved us. Who reads to him, who lets him climb on the furniture. Tears spilled down her face. And if Clayton dies, Sammy's going to lose another father. And I don't know if he can survive that. And so what do you choose? Eliza looked at the wooden horse, then at Sammy's door, then at the study where Clayton lay dying. I choose, she took a shaking breath, I choose to let Sammy keep his father, even if he's the wrong one. Not for Clayton? No, for Sammy. Because he's 5 years old and he loves him, and he don't deserve to lose nobody else. She wiped her eyes. But when Clayton wakes up, if he wakes up, he's got to promise me something. What? When Sammy's older, when he's strong enough, Clayton tells him everything, the truth, all of it, and lets Sammy decide what to do. That's fair. And every day between now and then, every single day, Clayton proves he deserves this mercy. Her voice went hard. He don't get to just be forgiven. He's got to earn it every morning for the rest of his life. Mrs. Chen stood, helped Eliza to her feet. You're stronger than your mama. Stronger than you know. I don't feel strong. Strong people never do. Dawn, December light through ice-covered windows. Clayton woke to warmth, blankets, the smell of wood smoke and coffee, and someone sitting beside him, Eliza. She held the wooden horse in her lap, stared at it like it might speak. How long? His voice was gravel. 2 days. You nearly died. Sammy? Alive. Fever broke last night. Relief crashed through him. Thank God. Don't thank God. Thank Dr. Ashford and Mrs. Chen and me. You? I chose to let you live. She looked at him, eyes red but steady. When the doctor said she couldn't save both of you, I chose Sammy first. But then I prayed. I ain't prayed in years, but I did. I prayed you'd live too. Not for you, for him. Clayton tried to sit up, couldn't. I can't forgive you, Eliza said. Each word deliberate, measured. Not yet, maybe never, but Sammy calls you Papa, and he loves you, and if you died, her voice cracked, he'd die too. Maybe not his body, but his heart. Eliza. So here's the deal. She held up this wooden horse. You're his father now, not by blood, not by right, but because I'm choosing it. For him, only for him. I understand. But you tell him the truth. When he's old enough, when he's well, you tell him everything, and you let him decide. I promise. And every day, she placed the wooden horse in his hand. Every single day, you prove you deserve this mercy. You hear me? He looked at the carved initials, felt their weight. I hear you. She stood, walked to the door, paused. Mama used to say mercy ain't the same as forgiveness. Mercy is what you give someone even when they don't deserve it. Forgiveness is what comes after, if it comes at all. Your mama was right. So don't waste this. Her voice shook. Because it's the only mercy you're getting. She left. Clayton lay there holding a dead man's love carved in wood, given to him by that man's daughter. Not as absolution, as debt. November passed slow. Clayton recovered. Coughed for weeks. The cold had damaged his lungs. Now when he breathed deep, something rattled. Poetic, he thought. Now he sounded like Sammy used to. Sammy recovered faster. Children always did. By Thanksgiving, he was running through the house again, laughing, asking questions. Still called Clayton Papa. Eliza watched, said nothing. The house was different now. Warmer, somehow. More voices. Mrs. Chen came every day instead of twice a week. Dr. Ashford stopped by often, checking Sammy, but also just sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee. Talking, like a family, broken, imperfect, but alive. The first Sunday in December, Clayton called a town meeting. Silver Creek Community Church. Everyone came. Ranchers, merchants, miners. Even the saloon keeper closed up to attend. When Clayton Mercer called a meeting, you came. He stood at the front. Eliza and Sammy sat in the third pew. The boy swung his legs, didn't understand why everyone looked so serious. Clayton's hands shook. He gripped the pulpit. I asked you here because I owe you the truth, he began, voice rough. 10 years ago, I killed Thomas Hartley. Gasps, murmurs, everyone already knew. But hearing him say it was different. It wasn't self-defense, it was murder. We argued over water rights to Miller Creek. I drew first, he was unarmed. I shot him in the chest and then I planted a gun to make it look legal. The church went silent. I took his land, built my ranch on blood, and I've lived with that for 10 years. He looked at Eliza. His children, Eliza and Samuel, are living with me now, and they deserve to know the truth. You all deserve to know the truth. Jeremiah Cross stood. This is insanity. You'll hang. Maybe I should. But Dr. Ashford stood too. He's already punished. Look at him. 10 years of guilt. Nearly died in the same creek where Thomas died. That's not nothing. Well, the law can punish him if it wants. She looked at Eliza. But the decision belongs to them. All eyes turned. Eliza stood slowly, small, 9 years old, but her voice carried. I can't forgive him. Not yet. Maybe never. She looked at Clayton. But my brother needs a home, needs family. And Mr. Mercer, she forced the name. Mr. Mercer has cared for us, saved us, nearly died for us. Silence. So I'm asking you to let him live. Let us stay. Let this be. She searched for words. Let this be enough. Chief Joseph Running Bear stood, old, weathered, silent for decades. I was there, he said. I saw the killing, saw everything. He looked at Clayton. And I saw this man nearly die saving cattle in that same creek. I say, he's paying every day, let him pay. And slowly heads nodded. The preacher, Reverend Walsh, 30 years in Montana, spoke. Sometimes mercy is harder than judgment. Sometimes letting a man live with what he's done is worse than hanging him. More nods. All in favor of letting Clayton Mercer live and make restitution? Walsh asked. Hands rose. Most of them. Not all, but most. Then it's decided. He lives, but he pays. Clayton looked at the raised hands, at the faces, some angry, some pitying, some just tired. Thank you, he whispered. Jeremiah walked out, slammed the door. The next day, Clayton began rebuilding the bridge, Miller Creek Bridge, where it all started, where Thomas died, where he'd found the children. He worked alone at first, tearing down the old rotted timber, clearing debris. The cold bit his hands, his damaged lungs protested. He didn't stop. By the second day, others joined. 3 ranch hands, then Dr. Ashford's husband, a carpenter, Then townspeople. They didn't speak much, just worked, building something new on cursed ground. Eliza appeared on the third day, brought lunch, stood watching. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Making it right. Best I can." "You can't make it right." "I know, but I can make it better." She watched him work. Then, "Sammy wants to help." Clayton looked at her. "Does he know?" "No, not yet. When he's older, like we agreed." "And you? Do you want to help?" Long silence. Then, "I'll bring more lunch tomorrow." Not yes, but not no either. 2 weeks later, the bridge was finished. Strong timber, iron supports, built to last generations. Clayton carved words into the main beam with a chisel, his hands steady for the first time in years. Thomas Hartley Bridge, 1878, 1889. A good man, remembered. Eliza saw it, ran her fingers over the letters, cried silently. "He deserves better than this," she said. "I know. But it's something. Yes." Sammy ran across it, jumped up and down. "It don't wobble. Papa, it's really strong." Clayton watched him, this child who'd never met Thomas Hartley, who carried his name, his blood, his father's love in a carved wooden horse. "Your papa built this," Clayton said, carefully. "The first bridge, long time ago." "My real papa?" "Yes." "Was he strong like you?" "Stronger." Sammy thought about that. "Do you think he'd like that I call you papa now?" The question hit like a bullet. "I think," Clayton chose his words, "I think he'd want you to be loved and safe and happy." "I am those things." "Good. Are you?" Clayton looked at this small boy with Thomas's blue eyes. "I'm trying to be." Christmas Eve. The house glowed. Mrs. Chen and Eliza had decorated. Pine branches, candles, paper chains Sammy made, and lamps. Every lamp in the house burning bright. Clayton had spent the day lighting them, one by one, every room, every window. "Why so many lights?" Sammy asked. "Because I spent too long in the dark." That night, they sat in the parlor, fire crackling, snow falling outside. The four of them, Clayton, Eliza, Sammy, Mrs. Chen. Dr. Ashford and her husband came. Chief Joseph. 3 ranch hands who had nowhere else to go. 10 people around a table. Sammy stood on his chair. "I want to say something." "Sammy, sit," Eliza started. "No, let me." He looked around. "I'm thankful. For Liza, for Papa, for this house, for being warm, for not being scared anymore." Silence. The kind that comes when truth is spoken plain. To not being scared, Dr. Ashford raised her cup. They all drank. Later, after everyone left, Eliza found Clayton by the window. "It's beautiful," she said. "Yes." Outside, the valley stretched forever. Snow covered everything. The bridge stood dark against white. In the distance, lights from other ranches, other families. "I still see him sometimes," Eliza said quietly. "In dreams, my father." "What do you see?" "I don't know. I never met him." She paused. "But I imagine he's kind." "He was." Long silence. "Do you think," her voice was barely a whisper, "do you think a person can have 2 fathers, one they lost and one they found?" Clayton's breath caught. "What do you mean?" "I mean, maybe people are more than the worst thing they ever did. Maybe they can be bad and good at the same time. Maybe—" She looked at him. "Maybe I don't have to choose." You don't have to decide anything tonight." "I know." She touched the window glass, cold. "But I've been thinking about what Mama said, about mercy, about second chances." Her voice shook. "And I think maybe you're trying, really trying. And that has to count for something." Eliza, I ain't forgiving you," she said quickly. "Not yet, but I ain't hating you either. Is there something in between?" "I think so." She nodded, wiped her eyes. "Good, 'cause that's where I am." She started to leave, paused at the door. "Merry Christmas, Mr. Mercer." Not Papa, but no longer just the murderer either. Something in between. Progress. Sammy woke the house before dawn. "It's Christmas! It's Christmas!" His feet pounded down the hallway. Burst into Clayton's room, jumped on the bed. "Papa, wake up! It's Christmas!" Clayton woke to blue eyes and gap-toothed smile, 5 years old and made of pure joy. All right, all right." He sat up. His back ached. 52, and sleeping in beds was getting harder. "Let me get dressed." "No time. Come now." The boy grabbed his hand, pulled him down the hall. Eliza stood in her doorway, hair tangled from sleep, trying not to smile. "He's been up since 4, she said. "I heard." Mrs. Chen was already in the kitchen, coffee brewing, cinnamon rolls baking. The smell filled the house. But Sammy dragged them to the parlor. Someone had transformed it overnight. A pine tree, small but perfect, stood in the corner, candles everywhere. And beneath the tree, gifts, wrapped in brown paper and twine. Simple. But there. Sammy's eyes went huge. Are those for us? Yes, Clayton said. Really? Really? The boy dropped to his knees, touched them like they might disappear. For Sammy. A real rocking horse, carved by Chief Joseph. Smooth wood, painted mane, rockers that moved silent as prayer, new boots, a warm coat, wool lined with rabbit fur, peppermint sticks, an orange, rare this far north in winter, and books, 3 of them, Treasure Island, Robinson Crusoe, A Child's Garden of Verses. For when your sister teaches you to read, Clayton said. Sammy threw his arms around the horse. He's perfect. He's the most perfect thing ever. What are you going to name him? Eliza asked. The boy thought hard. Then, Thunder, 'cause he came in the storm. Something in Clayton's chest tightened. For Eliza, more books, a warm cloak, deep green wool, lined with silk Mrs. Chen had saved for years, new dresses, real ones that fit. In a small box, she opened it slowly, stopped breathing. Inside, a silver locket, old, tarnished, beautiful. Where did you get this? Her voice shook. I found it, Clayton said. In the county records. When your father died, his personal effects were logged. Most of it was sold to pay debts. But this, he opened the locket. Inside, a photograph. Tintype. Faded, but clear. A young man and woman. Thomas and Sarah Hartley. Wedding day, probably. He was handsome. Strong jaw, kind eyes. She was beautiful. Dark hair, bright smile. Eliza stared at it. At parents she'd never seen together. At a father she'd never known. Tears spilled down her face. That's them, she whispered. That's really them. Yes. She traced her father's face with one finger. I have his nose. You do. And Mama's eyes. Yes. She clutched it to her chest, sobbed. Not sad crying, not happy crying. Something in between. Clayton started to move away, give her space, but she grabbed his hand, brief, tight, then let go. Thank you, she whispered. 2 words. They meant everything. Breakfast was chaos. Sammy rode Thunder across the parlor floor, made horse sounds, galloped in circles. Boy's gonna break his neck, Mrs. Chen said, but she was smiling. They ate at the big kitchen table. Cinnamon rolls, eggs, ham, coffee, hot chocolate for the children. Dr. Ashford and her husband arrived. Chief Joseph, 2 ranch hands, young men, no family of their own, 9 people. The table was full. Sammy stood on his chair again, wouldn't sit still. I got something to say. You always got something to say, Eliza teased. This is important. He looked around at all of them. Last Christmas, Mama was sick. We was cold. We didn't have nothing. And I asked Mama why God didn't help us. Silence. Everyone watching this small boy. What did she say? Clayton asked quietly. She said sometimes God sends people instead of miracles, and we gotta watch for them. Sammy's voice got softer. I think you're the people God sent. All of you. Mrs. Chen wiped her eyes. Darga. Ashford looked away. Chief Joseph nodded slowly. So thank you, Sammy finished, for being our miracle. He sat down, started eating like nothing happened. But the adults couldn't speak, couldn't move. A 5-year-old child had just preached the best sermon any of them had ever heard. Afternoon. The house settled into quiet. Sammy napped, exhausted from joy. Mrs. Chen and Dr. Ashford washed dishes. The men sat by the fire talking cattle and weather. Clayton found Eliza on the porch. She wore her new cloak, held the locket, stared at the valley. Cold out here, he said. I know. You okay? She opened the locket again, looked at her parents. I've been trying to remember them, but I can't. I was too young when Papa died, and Mama, her voice caught. Mama was so sick at the end she didn't look like this anymore. I'm sorry, but now I got this. Now I can see them happy, together, before everything went bad. She looked at him. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. Why? Because you deserve to see them, to know where you came from. He paused. And because your father was a good man, better than me, you should know what you lost. Eliza studied his face. You really mean that? Yes. You're not just saying it to make me like you? No, I don't expect you to like me. I just want you to know the truth. She was quiet for a long time, watching the snow-covered valley, the bridge with her father's name, the land that should have been theirs. I've been thinking about something Mama said. Eliza finally spoke. She told me once that people ain't all good or all bad. They're just people. doing their best, failing, trying again. Your mama was smart. She was wrong about one thing, though. What's that? She said God sends miracles, but I think... Eliza looked at the locket, then at the warm house behind them, at Sammy sleeping safe inside. I think sometimes people make miracles. Even when they don't deserve to, even when they've done terrible things, they can still make something good. Clayton's throat tightened. You think so? I'm looking at it. She met his eyes. This ain't forgiveness. Not yet, but it's something. Something good growing in bad soil. She went inside, left him standing there. The sun was setting, turning the snow gold and pink. The valley stretched forever, white and clean and new. Inside, lamplight, voices, laughter, a family. Not by blood, not by right, but by choice, by mercy, by the slow, painful work of building something from ruins. Clayton looked at his hands. Killer's hands. Builder's hands? Father's hands? Maybe Eliza was right. Maybe people could be all those things at once. Evening, the guests had gone home. The dishes were washed. The house settled into that special quiet that comes after joy. Sammy fell asleep by the fire, still wearing his new coat. Arms wrapped around Thunder the rocking horse. His breathing deep and peaceful. Eliza sat in the chair beside him, reading by lamplight, Treasure Island, lips moving slightly. One hand resting on her brother's head. Clayton stood in the doorway, watching Mrs. Chin appeared beside him, handed him coffee. They stood together in silence. You did good, she said finally. I don't know about that. Look at them. She nodded toward the children. They're alive, safe, loved. That's good. Maybe she was right. On the mantel, 3 objects. The wooden horse, TH carved into its side. The silver locket with Thomas and Sarah's photograph. And a lamp, burning steady. Death, memory, light. Past, present, future. Eliza looked up, caught Clayton watching. The smallest smile. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something softer than hate. She went back to her book. Clayton walked to the window, looked out at the valley. Snow. Snow glowing blue under starlight. The bridge, Thomas Hartley Bridge, standing strong. Other ranch houses visible in the distance, their windows golden against the dark. Behind him, warmth, voices, the sound of children breathing. He pressed his hand against the cold glass. I can't bring you back, he thought. Can't undo what I did. Can't make it right. But I can do this. I can love them, protect them, every day, until my last breath. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. The lamp on the mantel flickered, steadied, kept burning. Outside, snow began to fall, soft, silent, covering everything in white. Inside, 3 people who shouldn't have been a family, but were. Not by blood, not by right, but by mercy.